name is Amanda DePasqua. I'm a fourth grade teacher at East Vincent Elementary School in the Owen J. Roberts School District. In this video series, I'm talking about Google Classroom. In the first video, I gave a brief overview on Google Classroom, and in this video, I'm going to talk more specifically about creating assignments. In order to create your assignment, you'll need to go to the Classwork tab. On the Classwork tab, you'll see the button to create assignments, and you'll also have links to your Google Calendar where you will see the due dates for assignments and events and things like that. And also you'll have your class drive folder where all your students' work will be saved. To create an assignment, you'll hit create, and there are some different categories for assignments. So before you even start creating assignments, what I would recommend is creating topics. So for topics, there are some different ways that you can organize them. Some teachers like to organize them by subject. Others like to do them by week or by unit. It's really your preference. However you like to keep organized, that's how you'll set up your topics. And each assignment will fall under a different topic. So let's say I want to do subject. So I might create a writing topic, and I might create a math topic. Just a quick little example for creating topics. So now, when you create your assignments, you can categorize them under the different topics. So let's start by creating an assignment. So let's say I want to create an assignment for students for an opinion writing piece. So I'm going to title my assignment, and then I'm going to write some instructions. So just a quick example, write a 5-paragraph essay on your opinion on if schools should require school uniforms. Just a quick little example. You can get as detailed as you would like with the instructions, or you can be as brief as you want. It really depends on the assignment and what you're requiring for your students. A lot of times, the more detailed your instructions are, the more clear it is for your students. There are also some things that you could add with your assignment. So for example, you might add a document or a slides that you have on Google Drive. So for example, if you teach a mini lesson, you might want to include Google Slides that maybe you have with your lesson so that students can reference them. You could include a link. Maybe you have a resource that's helpful for students to help them with their writing or whatever topic you're teaching, so that might be beneficial to link. You could also upload a file from your own computer. Maybe you have a student example of the assignment that you could upload, or maybe you have a detailed PDF of the directions that you could upload. You could also embed a YouTube video, so maybe you had a really great resource that fits with your assignment, you could embed it there. You can also create a template for your students. So for this example, maybe I want to create a template for them so they know how to structure their writing. So I might create a Google Docs. It's going to automatically create and take me to the document or whatever I decide to create. You'll want to give your assignment template or whatever you're creating a title. So maybe this one I'm going to call Opinion Writing Template. And then maybe I just do a quick little template of what I want for my students. You could include your directions on here. This is just a very quick example. All right, so now my students, they will see this when they open the assignment up. So right now, students can only view this file. So they could only see this. They can't edit it. So let's say I want them to be able to have their own copy of this. So I'm going to click this drop down arrow and do make a copy for each student. Now every student has their own copy and they can all edit the document and create their own. You'll see that there's an option for students can edit the file. That means that all of the students can edit this same document. So you'll only really want to use that feature if you want students to collaborate on the same document. But if you want everybody to have their own document or own Google Slides or whatever they're working on, PDF, you want them to edit their own, you'll do make a copy for each student. And that's what you'll do for most of the assignments. You'll select the class for all students if you want to assign it to all students, but You'll also have the option to select certain students. So for example, if you're doing like a guided reading group and you want to just assign an assignment for one group, you can just check off those students that you want to assign it to. There's no students currently enrolled in the class, so that's why you don't see any students listed here. But when you have students enrolled, you'll just be able to check off their names. You can also change the point value. So let's say I want to make it 10 points, or you can make it however many points that you would like. And you could also have a due date. So let's say that I want to have a due date. I can set that and the time that it's due so that students know when they need to turn in the assignments by. To organize my Google Classroom, I'm going to assign it under a topic. So in this case, I'm going to do writing. You could create a rubric. That's not a feature I personally use often, but if you would like, you can create a rubric or import it from a Google Excel sheet if you already have that. But when you go through this, there's some different things that you can create the criteria for. You can decide how many points it is. So there is an option for a rubric, and you can use that for grading. So that is an option. You can either assign the assignment or you can schedule it. So let's say I don't want students to see this for a couple more days. I'm just, working ahead of myself so that, I'm ready. I can share this out to my students and I don't forget about it. So I might create a certain time and day that I want to schedule it out to my class so that they could all see it. So you'll see when you schedule it, it'll appear gray and it will automatically get published at that time that you schedule it. So one option, that's how you would do an assignment. I'm going to switch over to an example of an assignment. Here's just an example of an assignment that was posted. Students were given a template to work on. When you click on the Student Work tab, it will take you to all the students' classwork. So all the assignments that they completed, it will take you right to the documents that they had. You'll be able to see who turned in the assignment and who still needs to turn it in. You'll also be able to grade the students right from this page. So you can automatically give your students a grade. You can also click on their work and it will take you right to their assignment. You can provide feedback and comments right on the document, and the same thing with Google Slides or whatever Google thing that you embedded as well. So once you hit return, it will go to the students, they'll get their grade, they'll get their feedback. So it's a great way to see their work and evaluate it all in one place. Next thing that you can create is a quiz assignment. So this is automatically going to take you to a blank Google Forms. So it's just like you do the same thing as creating an assignment, but you're going to click on the Google Forms and you're going to create your quiz. Google Forms is a great tool for different kinds of assessments. It's also good for exit tickets. There are plenty of things that you can do with Google Forms. So not only can you give them the quiz, but it automatically grades it for them. So you can set up an assignment like a quiz and it'll take you right through Google Forms and you can see each student's responses. And I'll show you a quick example of a Google form. An example of Google Forms, you can do multiple choice questions. There's also options to do checkboxes, drop down, multiple choice grids, linear scale. So there's all kinds of ways that you can create your questions. And what's great is you can see your student responses. So it breaks down the data for you. You can see how many students got a certain question correct. So it's a great way to analyze data. You can also open up and create a spreadsheet where it will organize all the information for you into one document. You can also create a question. For example, you might do a math question. You can make it a short answer. You could also make multiple choice questions, and you can ask them to your students. What's great is that you can also allow students to reply each other, or you can turn it off if only you want to see the responses. But to have like an online discussion, you could have students respond to each other. And if you would like, you can also have students able to edit their answers, or you can also turn that off as well. So creating a question is another thing that you can do, and again, you can set it up just like your other assignments. The last thing that you can do is create a material. So what you would do for this is, like, if you're adding a link to a video or a website, if you don't want it to be an assignment but you just want students to be able to view something, then you can just embed it as a material and you can sort it under the topic. So for example, let's say that I want the students to view a science video on the water cycle. I might find a video that works, I'll copy the link, and I'm going to post it by adding a YouTube video. I'm going to add that in there. And I might create a new topic for science and assign it to my class. So you can also add materials. It doesn't have to be an actual assignment. It could just be a resource that the students need to use in class. If you would like to reuse a post, what that's saying is you're taking an assignment from another class that you have on Google Classroom and just embedding it into this class. So when I click on that, I can choose a class that I would like. Let's say I would like to just reuse this assignment that I already created so I don't have to do the same thing over and over. That's really great for middle school and high school teachers when you're teaching the same class or the same subject but two different classes. So you'll just hit reuse. I think this is because this class must be archived. So let me find a class that isn't archived. So I'm going to reuse that. Yep. And now it'll take me to that assignment again and I can reuse the post. Or I could always schedule it or save it as a draft. So let's say I want to think about it later, I can just save it as a draft. All right. So that's a really quick overview of all the things that you can do for assignments on Google Classroom. You can definitely embed a lot of things that are already in your Google Drive and in your Google Cloud and put those into Google Classroom. Thanks for watching.